This is Amy Adams. Welcome to the podcast, read by me, written by Del Sweet. Copyright 2020, all rights reserved in their entirety. Candace, March 1st. The traffic leaving the parking lot had slowed to a trickle. The lot was nearly empty. The live shows were over. The bands packed up and gone. The dancers gone before or at the same time. The club was empty except Jimmy, the club boss, Don, the main door security, and me. "Why are you still here, Candy?" Jimmy asked as he came up to the bar. He was on his way back from the parking lot. It was a short trip across the parking lot to the bank night deposit on the lot next door. I had an idea that Harry would be by tonight. He wanted to talk to me. I shrugged. Harry was a bookie, at least on the surface. Off the surface, or maybe it would be truer to say under the surface, Harry controlled most of the organized crime north of Syracuse. Jimmy managed the club, among other things, but the best description for Jimmy was to say Jimmy solved problems for Harry. "He wants to talk you into staying here. That's about all," Jimmy said. I turned away and pretended to check my face in the mirrored wall behind the bar. I wanted to dance. I had suggested to Harry, through Jimmy, that maybe it was time for me to move on if there wasn't any hope of me dancing. Anyway, I ended up tending bar. So it's not dancing. He dug one hand into his pocket and pulled out a thick wad of bills. He peeled 200s from the roll and pushed them into my hand, folding his hand over my own and closing it when I started to protest. But nothing. We did a lot in bar sales, and you and I both know it was because of you. He smiled, let go of my hand, and stepped back. "It was me, not Harry," he said. I fixed my eyes on him. I knew what he might be about to say, but I wanted to be sure. He sighed. "It was me that put the stop to your dancing. You're too goddamn good for dancing, Candy. And once you start," he barked a short, derisive laugh, "the law thing, right out the window. What's a cop make anyway in this town? Maybe 30 or 40 a year?" He settled onto one of the stools that lined the bar, tossed his hat onto the bar top, and patted the stool next to him. He continued talking. "So, 30, maybe 40, and what's a dancer make? I can tell you there are dancers here who make better than $150 a year, and that's what I pay them. That's not the side stuff or tips." He moved one large hand, fished around behind the bar, and came up with a bottle of chilled vodka from the rack that held it just below eye level. He squinted at the label. "Cherry Surprise?" he questioned, in a voice low enough to maybe be just for himself. "Is this shit any good, Candy?" "It's not bad," I told him. I leaned over the bar and snagged 2 clean glasses when he asked me to. Set them on the bar top. He poured us both about 3 shots worth. "Jesus, Jimmy." He laughed, "Which is why I don't make drinks. It'd break me." He sipped at his glass, made a face, but sipped again. I took a small sip of my own drink and settled back onto the bar stool. "So," I said to myself, "smart, beautiful, talented, and you have that something about you that makes men look a second time. You know?" He took another small sip. A man sees a woman walking down the street or across a crowded dance floor. Beautiful or not, he looks. That look might be short or it might be long. Depends on the woman. Then he looks away. Does he look back? Not usually. But with you he does. There are women men look at that second time for whatever reason, and you're one of them. I looked a second time, and then I really looked, for a third time, and I've seen a lot. That tattoo makes men and women look again. His eyes fell on the tattoo that started on the back of my left hand, ran up my arm, across my breast, and then snaked back down over my belly and beyond. I knew it was provocative. That was the rebellious part of me. I had no better explanation for why I had sat, or lain, through 5 months of weekly ink work to get it done. Jimmy rubbed one huge open palm across the stubble of his cheeks. Jesus, do I need a shave? He took a large drink from his glass. It wasn't the tattoo. It caught my eye, but that wasn't what made me look that third time. Candy, I took a third look because I saw a young woman that doesn't need to have anything to do with this world. You're too goddamn smart, talented for this. So I said no. I let you dance a few times, but I didn't want you to fall into it. I made the decision that you should tend bar instead of dance. He tossed off the glass. I see that, I told him, although I didn't completely see it. He was reading a lot about what he thought, what he saw, into who I really was. Yeah, I don't think so, Candy. And that's a reason right there. Candy, like a treat. When did it become okay for anyone to call you that? Because I remember a few months back when you started hanging around here, it was Candace, and pity the dumb bastard who didn't understand that. Now it's Candy to any Tom, Dick, or Harry that comes along. He saw the hurt look in my eyes, reached below the bar, snagged the bottle again, and topped off his glass. I shook my head, covered the top of my glass with my hand, and smiled. He put the bottle back and continued. I'm not trying to hurt you, only keep you on track. I'm giving you the keys. You drive. All I'm saying is set your ground rules. Make them rigid. Don't let anyone, me, Harry, these boys that work here, customers, don't let anyone cross those lines. You see, Candy? I nodded. Yeah? Then why not call me on calling you Candy? I've done it since we sat down. Why not start there? Well, I mean, you're the boss, Jimmy, which is why you start there. I don't allow anyone to talk anyway to anyone that doesn't want that. Let me explain that. You got girls that walk the streets. You don't see it so much here. It's a small city, but it happens. I spent a few years on the streets in Rochester, bigger place, as a kid. It happens all the time there. He sipped at his drink. I took a sip of my own drink and raised my brows at what he had said. Yeah? Don't believe it? It's true. I fought my way up. I have respect because I earned it. He waved one hand. Don't let me get off track. He smiled and took another sip from his glass. So I've seen girls on the streets. Whores. It is what it is. Would you hear me say that to them? Maybe you would. Maybe you wouldn't. If a woman sees herself as a whore, if that's all it is, what it is, then who am I to say different? Do you see? It's a living or it's a life. There is a difference. Now back to you. You want to dance. Some of these girls, he waved one meaty hand at the empty stage area, work the other side. Some of them do that for me. Some do it on their own. Some don't. He sighed. Either way, you would not see me treat them any other way than the way they want to be treated. I mean that. If you believe you are a whore, and that is what you see, then that is what you show the world, and that is how the world sees you, treats you. He settled his eyes on me. I nodded. I didn't trust my voice. I had been down this road on my own. What did it say about me? That it only mattered that I made it? That money mattered more than anything else? Would I be swayed by the money? Was I even being honest with myself about my motivations? I really didn't know. I knew what I told myself on a daily basis, that I wanted to follow my father into law enforcement. But it was whimsical, like so many other things in my life, that I never followed through on. You are not just a dancer. There is a part of you that is. A part of you that likes the way a man looks at you. A part of you that likes the money. But there is another part that is the private you, the real you. You need to keep those distinctions. He rubbed at his eyes, tossed off the rest of his drink, and rose from the bar stool. Let me drop you home, Candy, he asked. I stood. leaving most of my full drink sitting on the bar top. I have my car, I told him. It's late. Creeps around, maybe. Jimmy, every creep in my neighborhood knows I work here. For you. Guys stopped talking to me, let alone the creeps. I laughed, but it wasn't really all that funny. It had scared me when I realized who Jimmy was, who Jimmy worked for, in effect, who I worked for. Another questionable thing? Probably. Jimmy nodded. Smart creeps. The Southern Tier is a big place, easy to lose yourself, with or without a little help. He looked at his watch and then fixed his eyes on me once more. So you keep your perspective, set your limits, draw your lines. He spoke as he shrugged into his coat, retrieved his hat from the bar top, and planted it on his head. Don't let anybody cross those lines. You start next week. Let's say the 11th. I nodded. Take the balance of the time off. By the time the 11th comes around, you should be ready for a whole new world, a whole new life. He stood looking down at me for a second. The big talk, I guess. For what it's worth, I don't say those things very often, Candy. I nodded. I believe that. And Jimmy? He looked down at me. He knew what was coming. He expected it, and that was the only reason I was going to say it. I knew better than to correct Jimmy V. There were a lot of woods up here. They did go on forever, and they probably did hold a lot of lost people. I may be slow, but I'm far from stupid. Please don't call me Candy, I told him. He smiled. Don't be so goddamn nice about it. Don't call me Candy, he rasped, a dangerous edge to his voice. Look him right in the eye. Don't call me Candy. Put a little attitude in your look. A little, I can fucking snap at any minute attitude. Let me see that. I put my best street face on, the one I had used growing up on the streets in Syracuse. I know that I can snap any minute look. I'd used it many times. Don't call me Candy, I told him in a voice that was not my own, my street voice. Just don't do it. Goddamn right, doll, Jimmy told me. Goddamn right, scared me there a little. That's that street-wise part of you. He took my head in both massive hands, bent and kissed the top of my head. I'll see you on the 11th, he told me. I nodded. I let the doll remark go. I followed Jimmy out the back door past Don, who nodded at me and winked. Don was an asshole, always hitting on us when Jimmy wasn't around. But Jimmy was his uncle. I was employing my best selective perception when I smiled back at him. I wondered if I would ever get used to him. Probably not, I decided, but maybe that would be a good thing. Of course it didn't matter. I never saw Don again, or Jimmy, or anyone else from that life. I said goodbye to Jimmy V, crossed the parking lot for the last time, and drove myself home. I parked my rusted-out Toyota behind my grandparents' house, and 24 hours later, my world, everybody's world, was completely changed.